Hello and welcome to How to Grow Your Business with Personal Touches. My name is Peter Beckenham, the Village Marketer. And yes, every business needs leads. Not just leads, but good quality leads. And this process I'm about to take you through is all about lead generation. But it's a lot more than that. Because what I'm going to take you through shows you not just how to generate leads, but how to also transform cold leads into warm, interested, qualified prospects for your business. And we're going to be doing that with a simple system that includes little personal touches that make you memorable and totally differentiate you from everybody else. Okay, so let's get started. I want to start by going back to foundations. And even though you think you know these, I want you to rethink this through. I want to look at what makes you different. What makes your prospects tick? How are you going about your Facebook prospecting? What about the networking calls you're doing now? Are you doing them right? And also, what about the strategy sessions or the discovery sessions you're having with your potential clients? I want to rethink all this through because by the end I want to give you a very clear path to building your very own prospecting system that actually works. And apart from the time you're going to spend, it's absolutely free. So let's get back to basics. How are you going to grab your audience's attention so you can have the opportunity to develop relationships with them, with your ideal prospects in other words, in the first place? How are you going to do that? You need, I can tell you, a clearly defined focus and some unique selling points. If you don't have these, then you're not going to be able to relate and resonate with any particular potential prospect, right? I'm going to help you sort these out right now, okay? Because if you haven't got clear in terms of your market niche and your unique selling proposition, in other words, what makes you different, then really you're going to have big problems in prospecting anyway. So in simple terms, when you've got yourself a market niche and you've got yourself a unique selling proposition, something that makes you different, then you're in a situation that you can grab prospects' attention. It also is going to set you apart from your competitors and it will position you as an authority leader. This is an essential part of this prospecting system I'm about to take you through. Because if you don't actively try to do this, then really all you're going to be is another fish swimming around in the sea, okay? Swimming around with another bunch of other fishes who are trying to do exactly the same thing as you, and you're all going to lose. Now you don't want that, right? So if you want to be a very good prospector, an effective one, you need to differentiate yourself and you need to stand out. There's no point in finding potential prospects if they're not going to talk to you, right? So your niche and your USP is your answer to the ideal prospect question, why should I talk with you? Because remember, they've all got a million other options they can do out there, right? So you need to use your niche and your USP in all your messaging and make it very clear why you are a person that is definitely worth thinking about and definitely worth communicating with. And really, it doesn't matter what business you're in. There's a way for you to position yourself as a unique authority leader in any darn niche. You can do this. So your niche market, simply that's your slice of the market. Make it your own. Now think about who do you want to serve and what do you want to serve to them. And the more specific you can make it, the better, okay? Now let's talk about your unique selling proposition, your USP. Now having a USP doesn't mean you're the best at what you do. Anybody can say that, right? It's just that what makes you different. Think and do things that differentiate you from your competition. There's so many different approaches you can do to uncover your USP, and I'll take you through some of these right now. But the reason we're doing this is because once you have come up with a unique selling proposition that can grab people's attention, then provided you are then prospecting in the right marketplace for people who will relate to you and your USP, then your prospecting efforts will not be in vain. In fact, you will optimize everything you're doing. That's why I'm getting you to look at you as well as your prospects, and then we match the two together. Does that make sense? So to help you to uncover your USP, you need to identify three things. One, your passion. This is a big reason why people are going to be attracted to you. and also a big reason why they want to join your leadership and join your group, or jump on the phone with you. And it's also a big part of what makes you unique. So think about why you started in your business and what you really like about what you're doing. I mean, rediscover your passion and your why for doing things, because your passion is truly contagious. Then the next thing you've got to look at is identify your strengths. So what are you good at? What do other people compliment you on? What skills have you developed over the years? What can you do that your competitors can't do? I mean, even aspects of your personality can help you. Anything you can think of that sets you apart. Okay? And finally, look at the prospects' pain points and the opportunities. What are the challenges your prospects are facing, and what benefit would they be willing to pay for? Passion, strengths and opportunities. Very carefully think about these things. Don't gloss over it. Think carefully about that, and you will find your unique selling proposition. And once you've done that, I can tell you, you are in a far better position to be attractive to potential prospects that we're going to start with in a moment. And by the way, when those passions and strengths and opportunities all align, then you know you have a solid USP, one that will definitely differentiate you from everybody else on the planet. And it'll also help you stand out and grab the attention of your audience. And it will also put you right in line to become an authority leader that many, many people are seeking, because most people are followers and they're looking for leaders just like you. Yes, coming up with a powerful USP will definitely attract people to you and also help them with the know, like and trust factors with you. Now, don't have your expectations too high, right? I mean, let's say that of your market niche, 30% will adore you, truly love you and adore you, okay? And 30% will think, oh, not too bad, not too good, either way, okay? And 30% will probably turn off from you. I mean, that's reality, right? But think about this. If you can get your share of the 30% who truly love and adore you, then you've got it made, right? So time spent working on your USP is extremely valuable. Just remember, the real purpose of this USP exercise is to help you better grab the attention of your top prospects, because without it, you're not going to attract anybody. And you'll be building better relationships with the right type of prospects, and in turn, this will generate more leads for you. So the most important thing is, once you've clarified your USP and understand your market niche, then the next thing you need to know is, who is the ideal prospect for your business? Really, really know your prospects. I mean, if you don't know exactly who you're trying to target, then you're not going to have much success in generating the leads you want to grow your business. And if you're not clear in who you're looking for in terms of an ideal prospect, as well as your USP, then you're going to miss the target completely. I mean, you have to do more than just identify your ideal prospects, right? If you want to start having quality conversations with them, you need to be gathering as much information as possible on your prospects so that you can understand their needs and what really makes them tick. That's why you use a prospect profile to get all the key demographics and attributes. I mean, please don't ever assume or guess this. And if you've been struggling for quality leads in the past, I can tell you it's time for a complete rethink. Okay, you need to change things, because the way you've been prospecting in the past is just not working for you, right? So whatever you've assumed in the past, stop, rethink, and start again. You really need to grasp this ideal prospect profile for you. I mean, as Albert said, if you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it well enough. And really, if you can't identify the demographics and the attributes of your ideal prospects, then how in the heck are you going to get them to know, like, and trust you? Because it's not just names on a sheet of paper. We're going to be building relationships with them, because I'm going to show you a way to prospect that includes personal touch points where you are building relationships at different levels, and this differentiates you. But if you're talking to the wrong sort of prospect, then you're going to be wasting time, right? So never guess or assume anything about your ideal prospects. Think about your best customers from the past, or if you're just getting started, think about your ideal client. Think of your customers as just one specific person. Give them a name. This is your avatar. Think about this very carefully, and you should address your entire ideal prospect as a single person. And in fact, approach this as if you were talking to an actual real person. As I said before, don't assume anything. Write down the personal and professional demographics of these particular people. Now, even if you think you've got it all locked up in your mind, write it down. Get it down on paper, because then your marketing messages will be that much more powerful. By the way, you don't need to know everything there is to know about these particular things, and I'm going to give you some simple PDFs that show you what to look for a little later in this presentation. But you just use the details that are going to help you find the prospects online. That's the key, right? Use the details that will help you find your ideal prospects online, and also help you better understand their wants and needs. And by the way, make sure you write down how your prospect speaks. This goes a long way to building rapport a little later on when you have a one-on-one session with them. And yes, it's okay to have more than one prospect profile. I mean, you might have 3 or 4, okay? But usually there's only 1 or 2 that really matter. Let me share with you some examples of a particular USP and see what you think about it. The first one says this: I'm a health coach who helps people lose weight and live a more active lifestyle. How's that for a USP? Does it sound good? Well, really, it's pretty darn vanilla, right? And it doesn't speak directly to anybody. And really, don't all health coaches do that? Don't they all help them lose weight and live a more active lifestyle? So instead, that person could say, I'm an holistic health coach who helps busy working women who suffer from emotional eating habits and food addictions. See, this is much clearer and far more specific, okay, as a USP. And if you were one of these women who are battling an addiction like this, then you'd be naturally drawn to her because you'd feel like she was speaking directly to you because it's become specific. Does that make sense? I mean, here's a very quick bit of theory, but it's not that difficult. This is a simple niche formula for you, right? Industry, market segment, your ideal prospect, and their reason or their pain point. Here's an example. The formula for the health coach would be health and wellness industry, focusing on holistic health, whose ideal prospects are women, and their pain points are that they're struggling with emotional eating and food addiction. Okay? The clearer you can make your USP, the more success you're going to have with your lead generation. I can tell you that. Because you'll get more people relating with you. In other words, if you try to appeal to everybody, then you'll end up talking with no one. You just have to get specific on your expertise and clear on your target audience. Then you can tailor your brand and your message to people, and they will notice you and listen to you. And why will they listen to you? Because the prospects want specific advice and answers based on specific needs and their situation. So clarify your USP and also clarify your ideal prospect. I mean, there's no point in having 100 potential prospects if none of them are ever going to talk to you. I mean, it's that darn simple, okay? Now, to help you with this foundation part, check out Foundation Steps Downloads. This is a PDF, and in this PDF are some very valuable, very brief, but easy to understand documents that'll help you to put this in place. There's one called Creating Your Prospect Profile. There's one called Your Niche and Your USP. There's one called What Makes Your Prospects Tick. Another one called Your Authority Leadership Statement, where you can put together the reasons why you're a leader based on your USP, and that starts to attract people to you, right? Then a simple strategy to build your authority. I'll take you through how to do that. And finally, creating an effective Facebook group, because this is the one thing I'm recommending you all do. And if you've got one already, great, but maybe we can fine-tune it and make it work even better for you. I'm hoping you'll find that PDF document very helpful indeed, okay? And I've got some more resources for you. There's a video, Facebook Prospecting Tools. Make sure you watch this Facebook Prospecting Tools video, as it will give you some great ways to uncover prospects in your chosen market niche, okay? On Facebook, right? Intel Techniques and Lookup ID website are 2 things I talk about in the video, and they will really help you to have a consistent supply of new profile prospects for your business. Make your objective to spend 30 minutes a day generating 50 new prospects each week for your prospecting funnel. Yes, it's going to take you 30 minutes each day, some time, but I can tell you it's going to be worth every single minute of it. And now we come to the prospecting scripts. Yeah, I haven't left you alone there either, okay? I mean, the whole idea of this prospecting system is to take your prospect through a series of steps where you are building relationships with them each time. These personal touch points are also the thing that makes this prospecting system absolutely unique. Now, also know you'll be only building solid relationships with, say, 30% of your niche audience, as I mentioned before, right? So don't set your expectations too high. But also never let any negative messages put you off your objective of going for 50 new prospects every week. I mean, there's always going to be people who don't resonate with you. So accept that as a fact of life, and please don't let them get to you. In addition, you'll find both generic and more specific types of messages that have yellow shaded areas where you can insert your own details. Now, the more attractive your USP is, the more effective these specific message options will be. So get your USP right, and I can tell you it almost compels people to want to get on the phone with you so you can solve the challenges they've got. But word of warning, you don't have to change much in these messages, just maybe 10%, and please don't make them over salesy. I mean, always be thinking, what's in it for them to have this call with you? If you're not sure, by the way, whether your USP is strong enough, then try sending out, say, 50 generic options, 50 generic messages, right? And then try 50 specific options and see what the results are. I mean, keep updating and testing because your message sequences are always going to be a work in progress, okay? But they are an essential part of your prospecting funnel because without it, it's not going to work. And the other thing is this, it's also a proven sequence that has been used by some of the top marketing companies in the world. What I've done is fine-tuned it to introduce some personal elements into it to help build your relationships earlier in the piece and differentiate you as much as possible from your competitors. That's what makes it unique. So quickly, the messaging sequence is this. Message one, that's an initial message when you actually first are reaching out to a potential prospect on Facebook. Number two, a message, a thanks for connecting. Message number three, that's your first personal touch point. It's where you actually talk to them rather than type to them, talk with them and invite them to join your Facebook group. Number four message is a second personal touch point, and that's where you also talk with them about joining your list, offering them your lead magnet. Now there's a timing involved and you'll see in the PDF the actual times you use. You're not doing all this in 1 week. Goodness me, you'll drive people crazy. You've got to spread this out because you are building relationships at the same time. Then you've got message number 5, which is where you link to a quality resource. And when you see the PDF, it'll make more sense to you. And I'll even give you an example of what I've done. Message number 6 is where you give them a link to your group, where you've got some discussion taking place in your group and you're reminding them of the value of the group. Message number 7, right, is the third personal touch point. This is where you're requesting a call with them, okay, a 10-minute call. This is a networking call. But it's a networking call with a difference, and you will see a little bit later on why I'm saying that. Message number 8 is a follow-up message to number 7 because a lot of people may have missed that in their busy days. So we'll repeat the actual message of requesting a networking call with them. Okay, now to help you further, watch the 30-minute lead generation system video to better understand the flow of your new prospecting funnel that I'm introducing you to. And remember, we are dealing with people here. We are building relationships with people here. This is the secret of your prospecting success. That video will actually show you the first few steps in terms of connecting and getting to know you and joining your group and joining your list, etc. And now we take them to the next level. And that is your third personal touch point, okay? The networking call. This is where you're going to request to find out a little bit more about your prospect, and that's why we use message number 7 in the sequence. Here's an example. Hi Bob, I'm trying to get to know my friends on Facebook, or maybe connections on LinkedIn if that's what you've got. Okay? I'm trying to get to know my friends on Facebook a little better so we might both benefit from being connected. We've been crossing paths on Facebook for the past month or so, and I'd love to schedule a quick call with you. Would you have 10 minutes to chat again next week? How does Friday, the March the 15th in the afternoon sound? Thanks, Kathy, Harry, whatever your name is, okay? Now this message, and you'll see it in the PDF called multi-point messaging system, okay? This message has a couple of factors in it. First of all, you indicate very clearly it's only 10 minutes. Secondly, you're saying to chat again next week. In other words, you're reminding them you've already spoken, right, in 2 previous occasions in this system. And thirdly, you're giving a specific time, Friday the 15th in the afternoon, which means you are being quite professional about that, but also telling them it's not going to take too much time. And of course, remember, you've built quite a bit of rapport at this stage anyway, okay? Now, with this networking call, the steps involved are these. There's an ask section, then the follow-up, you listen for pain points, you open the door, and then the next steps. And I will take you through each of these steps so you can feel more confident about what it's all about. But remember, it's only a 10-minute call and there's absolutely no pitching, because the express purpose is to take your prospect to the next step. That could be whatever you want. It could be a webinar, or it could be a strategy or a discovery session, or whatever you want. The key issue is this: you are building a relationship with them. So, ask. Here is where we focus on hearing about what the prospect does. It's not some full-scale analysis of their business. It's simply a conversation, right, where you encourage the prospect to share a little about their business with you. And this is definitely not the time to talk about what you do. You find out what they sell. You find out what they make. What do they do? Take notes, because when you start getting lots of these calls, you need to remember who told you what about their business. And often the information they give you is very valuable later when you may have a strategy session with them. Find out commonalities that allow you to connect with them. I mean, for example, maybe you live in the same city or in the same industry, or you follow the same sports teams, or perhaps you both read the same publications, or maybe you have people you both know. I mean, whatever it is, look for commonalities that helps you connect with people. And then here's a great question to get someone started talking about their business. Tell me more about what you're up to these days. This is simple but very powerful, okay? So you ask the question, tell me more about what you're up to these days, and you just listen. And by the way, throughout the call, listen for pain points and find out why they're a challenge for them. But remember, you've got a 10-minute window, that's all you've got. So you don't want to gabble on for too long. To help you, you should ask some strategic questions that bring up pain points that relate to your potential offers or services or products, right? Now, by all means, let them talk about issues and experiences that you don't work with. But if you can't find an issue that you work with, then maybe it's going to be very difficult for them to want to deal with you in any way. Does that make sense? I mean, they'll deal with your business if you can solve some of their problems. So you want to ask questions that bring up issues that relate to what you offer. I mean, for example, in my case, I'd ask, what kind of things are working best for you right now as far as your sales and your marketing are concerned? Or I'd say, what's keeping your business from being at the level you want it to be at? Now, if they have any real pain with the thing that you provide the solution to, then they may mention it right then and there. And if they do, this tees you up to say something like, I see you're having trouble getting to the level you want to be at because you have this particular problem, whatever the pain point is, right? Well, I help people solve that particular type of problem. There may be something we can do together. That's all you need to say. Don't push anymore. Don't make a pitch. You've made the point. You've got their attention. That's all you need to do. Now, here's another great question you can ask as a follow-up. Tell me, how are you working to fix it right now? It's a great question to show them that they have this problem, and they may not even be working on it to solve it, or perhaps they don't even realize they've got that problem. So whatever it is, make sure you've identified some pain points that you can come back to without being pushy. Very, very low key, right? The next stage is open the door. Now, this is not opening the door for a sales pitch. Okay, you're not doing any of that. This is opening the door where you briefly mention how you have helped others in the past with the same issue that they've got. As I said before, keep it low key, and then you can ask, would they be interested in hearing some more? All you're asking is, would they like to hear more about how you've solved their particular problem for other people? You're not doing a sales pitch, and remember, even though you've built rapport, they're still not sure about you, right? So you've got to go very, very low key. Now, to help you, I'm going to give you this as well. Here's some language you could use that'll get you through this section. Honestly, Harry, I wasn't sure where this conversation would go. But I thought since we've been crossing paths on Facebook, there may be some benefit in learning what each of us is up to. But when I heard you just mention whatever the specific pain point was, right? Whenever I heard you mention the specific pain point, that made me really think that perhaps you could be interested in knowing a little bit more about what I offer. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is because I work with a lot of people similar to you and solve their pain points, their same problems, by doing, and you give the solution. Generic solution, no details. Because I've worked with a lot of people similar to you and solve their pain point by doing X, Y, and Z. Then, does that sound like something you'd be interested in learning more about? This is how you're going to get the networking call to start to focus on your solution without going into details, without pitching any way, without stress, without any pressure, nothing like that, simply conceptually. Now, if you've made the prospect the center of attention in this call and provided them with some great value by listening and understanding exactly what their pain points are, and you haven't pitched them too early or too much, you haven't been too salesy, and you've shown, for example, real respect for their situation, then you're at a point where you've built some real rapport and they would probably be interested in hearing more from you. So when they agree conceptually to finding out a little bit more, then you move to the next steps. Now, it could be a webinar, it could be a strategy or a discovery call, or whatever you've planned. It doesn't matter. The key issue right now is that you have a red-hot prospect for your services. Don't blow it by being the super salesman right now. Just make sure you've got the next steps all worked out prior to having this networking call. Now, by the way, you can sell the prospect on this third personal touch point because you have established some know, like, and trust factors and you've built some rapport. I mean, it can happen. There's no doubt about that. But most of the time, it's not the case. Keep in mind your main goal is to get them to the next step in your prospect funnel. That's your discovery or your strategy session. That's the final step in turning your prospect into a client. So your focus is now on making the sale. With all your prospects in different levels in your prospecting funnel, it really becomes a numbers game, but with a personal touch always. Think of it like this. Not every third personal touch point call will result in a sale, right? Not every networking call you're going to have a sale from. I mean, nobody has a 100% conversion ratio. Don't expect that. But let's say you could, for example, turn 4 out of every 10 networking calls into a strategy session. And of those 4 strategy session people, 1 of them becomes a client each month. Now, what would that do for your business? Have a think about that. So it's worth it, right? Take the time to set up your system. Just run the system and grow your business by uncovering 50 new prospects every week. Put them into your messaging system, make the calls, and turn them into clients. So what you need to do now is this. 1. Outline your prospect process. Make sure you know every step of your prospecting funnel process. Have it very clear in your mind so you always know what the next step is to take any prospect who joins you. That's got to be very clear. Number 2, create a script outline for yourself. This is an outline for how you're going to handle each of the 3 personal touch points we've talked about, okay? Now, use my videos and PDFs for ideas and help, but come up with your own approach to this. And by the way, another reason to script them out is to stop you from jumping on these calls and pitching right out of the gate. I mean, if you do this in any of the first 3 personal touch point calls, then I can tell you you'll probably blow the relationship and you'll lose the sale. Follow the outlines I've given you and be patient, okay? Now this brings us to the final part of your prospect process, your strategy or your discovery session. This is the session you hold with your prospects as you've taken down each step of your process. Now, to remind you, the steps included this: an initial contact with them, then your first personal touch point where you invited them to join your group, then a second personal touch point where you invited them to take hold of your lead magnet and join your list, a third personal touch point, which was the networking call we just walked through then, okay? And then finally, the strategy session. So at that point in time, you have built some pretty darn good rapport with this person. And you can approach your strategy session in 2 different ways. You can either offer a free session to every prospect you bring through the system, or you can have them complete a simple questionnaire first that helps you qualify your prospect and optimize your time. I mean, after all, there's no point in spending time with people who are not even prepared to complete the questionnaire. So check out the PDF called How to Turn More Consultations into Sales. how to turn more consultations into sales. This will give you a detailed step-by-step method of how to conduct the discovery or the strategy session. I can tell you this has been one of the key objectives of your lead generation personal touch process, okay? So don't blow it. It's very important you get that right. So check out that PDF, and if you have any issues or challenges with it, get back to me and ask me. Okay, well, I've shared a lot with you and given you a lot of resources, okay? What I'm asking you to do now is this. I want you to make a commitment to yourself to uncover 50 new prospects in your niche every week. Have your prospect process steps clearly in place so you know exactly what the next steps are for every prospect until they become a client. Make sure you've got some sort of tracking device in place, whether it's a spreadsheet or a notebook or a calendar, who cares, right? But have it in place so you know where each of your prospects are in your prospecting funnel, and commit to making time to conduct the calls. If you do this, I can tell you this will create a whole new profitable business outlook for you. And I can tell you your prospecting problems will be over for good. So I wish you good luck. Be committed, be persistent, and be consistent, okay? I'm going to leave the last slide on the screen just for a few seconds, just in case you need to contact. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it very helpful.